What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Kinda Anime. I'm one of your hosts, Barrett Courtney, and today I am not joined by the Lemillion to my Sun Eater. Instead, I am joined by the Yugi of Kinda Funny. It is Blessing Adeoye Jr.
If I'm Yugi, then who is my Yami Yugi?
I thought about that a lot. Because I was trying to think of, if I introduce Bless as Yugi, is there a character that I could be from the Yu-Gi-Oh universe that like we could like have a relationship with?
Joey Wheeler.
I was like, I don't feel like I'm a Joey, right? And so yeah, I was trying to think, who's your Yami Yugi?
Because like I guess really like I would also be Yami Yugi, right? Because it's the Millennium Puzzle that allows the lock-in. So I guess it is when do I lock in? And that might be on podcast. That might be like whenever the intro hits.
You've been locking in every time Magic the Gathering comes up. So that might just Magic the Gathering is just your real life Yu-Gi-Oh.
That is true.
Kind of thing. So.
I like that. Yeah. I'm trying to think of who you are then. Because like I do like you as Joey Wheeler. I think that works. You could be mine.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Who's there with the white hair?
Bless, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. You know, it's been a little quiet in terms of like actual anime watching lately, just because it's the turn of the year. There's a lot of stuff going on in the kind of funny world, right? So I haven't been able to like really catch up on a lot of things that are either coming out or getting ready for a lot of things. But I'm excited to like get into the year. There's a lot of things that are starting up that I'm excited to really get into. And if you clicked on this and saw the headline, that's mainly what this episode's going to be about, is looking ahead to the entirety of 2025 and seeing all the big stuff that's coming out this year. Because let me tell you, Bless, it's going to be a big one.
I'm excited to like hear and talk about this because I've not looked through what are the big anime that are coming out for the rest of the year. Like I mean, toward the end of last year, it felt like there were quite a few things. I mean, DanDaDan probably being like one of the main ones. Yeah, but like I know there was a Sakamoto Days that I think is currently out.
Yes, that'll be something that we talk about in a little bit. But yeah, that started up the year.
And I feel like last year was at least like
you had Dragon Ball.
Oh, Dragon Ball Daima. Yeah, I feel like last year was like maybe like a sneaky big year because there was DanDaDan, Daima. Was Frieren last year?
Frieren was, I think, from what I remember, it was like the end of 2023 going into the beginning of 2024. I might be remembering that incorrectly, though.
Gotcha.
But I think it was like one of those, like, it was in the winter season, so I think it like kind of crossed over in between years. So
yeah. So like there was a list of anime there where I would either... I'm so bad at finishing anime for some reason. Like I'll get halfway through a season and then another thing will catch my eye and I'll start watching that. And so like if you go to my Crunchyroll, there's just a bunch of shows that are just halfway through. But like last year I would hear about somebody talk about Frieren. I would hop into that and be like, yo, that's great. And then like DanDaDan was one. And because I got into that early enough to where I was then keeping up week to week. So I did finish DanDaDan and ended up falling in love with it. Probably like my favorite thing, one of my favorite things I watched last year. But yeah, I'm excited to hear you bring up the things that are coming up through the rest of the year. And
I'm excited to have you get you off the bench for anime talk, because of course kind of anime kind of spurred from the work from home days where we would stream, and we would have anime Thursdays where you, Mike, and myself would kind of just talk about whatever random anime that we had been watching. And that's kind of where Mike and I started to share our love for My Hero Academia, which was a big reason why we started this show. And so, yeah, you've been on once before, I think, for the episode where we discussed what got us all into anime. And so for those who don't know, Blessing, just as a quick little icebreaker, maybe if they did not check that episode out, what is your favorite anime of all time?
Oh, favorite anime of all time is Yu Yu Hakusho with a bullet. It's one that
Is that boy right there?
I don't see him.
No, is that? No. Oh, that might be a kid from Dr. Stone. I get those two mixed up a lot.
Yeah, no, like Yu Yu Hakusho was it's for me, it's two things. It's nostalgia. And it's also the fact that every time I watch it, it always hits like the first time I watch it. Like I think it's one that stood the test of time. It is from the same creator of Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, this is the kid. That's why I'm pointing at him.
Gotcha. I just put it together. So that's gone from Hunter x Hunter, which also Hunter x Hunter fantastic. This is Yu Yu Hakusho. That's what we'll use.
They did the live action adaptation a year or two ago. Yeah,
I think it was either December or January. It was one of those, but yeah, it was about a year ago.
Okay.
And it was that live action thing. no matter what, it was gonna be bad. But for something that was gonna be bad, pretty good.
Okay, all right, I respect it.
It's pretty good on the bad side. You know what I mean?
Yes, I definitely understand. Like bad, but like I can still watch it.
Yeah, bad, but like inspired bad.
Okay.
Bad, but like I'm like, yo, some of these fight scenes pretty sick. Like they nailed some aspects of it.
Well, if you want something bad but inspired bad, remember this is Kinda Anime, your home for all things anime here at Kinda Funny. It's about to be a big year of anime, so stay tuned throughout 2025 for random drops of this regularly irregular show when we have big things to review and discuss. A bit of housekeeping, a quick reminder since our last episode was 3 months ago. If you're here because you can't find the episode on podcast services, just a reminder, that's because we condensed our podcast feeds at Kinda Funny from now on. Any screencasts, including Kinda Anime, will be found on the Kinda Funny In Review podcast feeds. And secondly, in case you miss it, a fun thing we announced during Kinda Funny's 10-year anniversary stream is that Snowbike Mike Howard and I will be doing a live watch-along for the entire final season of My Hero Academia whenever it's all out in English dub. As someone who is a manga reader and knows how much left My Hero has to go in the main story with Deku and Shigaraki and all that, the final season's going to be definitely like a shorter one, probably in like the 12 to 13 episode range. So knowing that, I was like, that would be a fun, let's sit down, watch this entire thing over the course of like 4 hours and get hyped all for that, because that is a big shared love between Mike and I. It's a big focus on this show, and it's going to be a big moment to see this story finally come into an end in anime form. So stay tuned, probably towards the end of the year, maybe even next year, depending on when the season starts, for a specific date on that. And obviously, we'll do a proper Kinda Anime episode soon after that to fully unpack our thoughts. Now, I want to thank everyone who's a Kinda Funny member on Patreon, YouTube, and now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, who get all of our shows ad-free, have the ability to watch our afternoon podcasts live as we record them, and get an exclusive daily multimedia experience known as Gregway. The membership allows us to do more niche/passion-driven shows like Kinda Anime, so your support means the world to us. It also means a lot if you're one of our Patreon producers like James Hastings, Casey Andrew, and Carl Jacobs. Today, Kinda Anime is brought to you by BetterHelp and Built, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's get into topic of the show. Blessing, it is a big year for anime in 2025. It really started to dawn on me. A lot of things being announced for this year, specifically over the winter break, because there was, some anime.
Wait, was it the one in Florida?
There was some anime, maybe not convention. There was something where a lot of productions were being announced. A lot of things being confirmed.
Actually, it probably wasn't the one in Florida that I'm thinking
I don't
of,
think it was.
small.
I don't think it was, and I'm totally blanking on it right now.
Was it Anime Con? No, that's not a thing.
No, I don't know. Again, I'm new to the whole anime convention world. I just went to my very first anime convention like a few months back. I talked about it on the last episode, and so yeah, I'm unfamiliar with like the event side of this industry. But it's a big year for anime, a big year for anime that we're particularly into. So I thought it would be fun to kind of sit down near the beginning of the year and look forward to what we've got for the rest of the year, and just as a nice little thing to make me think of, okay, when would be a good time to do the next episode of Kinda Anime?
Smart.
Since we do this once every 5 months, roughly. So I've got a list of things. Bless, if there's anything in kind of your purview that I don't mention, obviously you can bring that up. And then there's some things that I have highlighted here that I really want to talk about our excitement for, or interest, and all that stuff. Now, we're at the end of January, but I wrote a lot of this down near the beginning of the month. January 9th, we got Dr. Stone, Science Future Part 1, and I think for some reason, I always associate you with Dr. Stone for some reason.
Interesting.
I think it's because of Hunter x Hunter and like the art style, and like the main character has like a very similar hairstyle to the main kid in Hunter x Hunter. And so for some reason, I'm like, oh, Dr. Stone, Blessing's really excited for that probably.
What's funny is that I know the name Dr. Stone, but I don't know anything about Dr. Stone. Is there some kind of like pitch or some kind of like description of it?
Oh, that's
because I'm looking at the title art right now, And I'm kind of with you of like, it does remind me, and I think it might be the green hair.
Yeah.
Because like, this guy loves green hair.
But
right?
but it's like it's white with like green tips, which is kind of neat. Let's see.
Or like green in general.
In 2019, a mysterious flash suddenly petrifies ostensibly all humans. The human race is frozen in stone for 3,700 years until April 5738, when 16-year-old prodigy Senku Ishigami is suddenly revived to find himself in a world where all traces of human civilization have been eroded by time. That's interesting. I like
really
that pitch.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got that. I don't know if let me click back over here. If Science Future is like a specific arc, or is that like I don't know what that means entirely, but that is already up and kicking. That started off on January 9th. Just 2 days after that, what you said earlier, Sakamoto Days, which I have to drill into my head that it's Sakamoto because a game that you and I both love, Persona 5, they pronounce it Ryuji Sakamoto, and that is wrong. And that is whenever I play Persona 5, Alyssa's like, they keep saying his last fucking name wrong.
Wait, so it is Sakamoto?
Sakamoto, yeah.
Okay, I thought I was Americanizing it when I was saying it. Yeah,
so I think Sakamoto is like the Americanized.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
And so
5.
Yeah, that started just 2 days later. That's on Netflix exclusively. When Sakamoto meets Aoi, the convenience store clerk, it's love at first sight. And just like that, he retires. Sakamoto gets married, has a daughter, opens a mom and pop store in a quiet town, and completely transforms into a plus-size man. To ensure a peaceful life with his beloved family, the legendary ex-hitman bands together with comrades to face off against the looming threat of assassins.
That sounds awesome.
I love this pitch. This is one that I know this has become a bit between myself and Netflix, but I refuse to like just have a subscription to Netflix and just keep it there. Like if I'm going to subscribe to Netflix, it's going to be for a month and it's going to be for a purpose. So this one I am kind of waiting for to be fully out because it is a weekly release on Netflix. But yeah, the kind of vibe of this pitch gives I don't know if you ever watched like Kim's Convenience, that's also like on Netflix.
Yeah.
But it's like Kim's Convenience kind of mixed with like Spy Family or something like that.
Spy Family immediately was the thing that came to mind,
Yeah.
right? Like the idea of like this guy who was formerly like a hitman, and now he's just like a family man, right? But like the spy or like the hitman stuff catches up, and like you gotta participate in that. That feels so. Hey, like Spy Family's a hit right now. We got to make something that's gonna like kind of compete and be along those lines.
And this is one that's been highly anticipated. I know a lot of friends of ours have been fans of the manga, and they've been excited for this adaptation. And from the trailer that came out like a couple months ago, just the wife knowing that he was a hitman and the whole kind of like thing of he's being hunted down because he left without asking this mob or whatever.
Oh, I love
and
that.
And she knows that he used to be a hitman, and her like number one rule is like no killing. If you kill someone, I will divorce you. And he loves her so much that he's like kind of like pathetic and like is willing to follow that rule by any means necessary. So a lot of the action scenes, seeing him use tools that are gonna like fuck people up but not kill them, is just really fun. I'm really excited to see that action. I haven't really heard any like reactions to the show so far. This episode's coming out.
I think we're 3 episodes in.
Yeah, I think a few episodes in. I haven't heard like a huge hubbub ever since it started. But I'm excited to kind of wait for the entire first season to be out and just fully binge it, because this one looks like definitely a highlight for the year.
Yeah, I love how the main character looks too. Like I know the description you read mentioned that he was a plus size dude, but like you look at him and he just looks so adorable.
Yeah,
like I want to hug this man. Like he has like kind of like some puffy cheeks, fun, like cool, like round glasses, and then the mustache, and then like white mustache, white hair slicked back, and like this is a good design for a main character.
Yeah,
like,
I like
him.
Good,
but also like because he's a little unconventional.
It's a good
too.
design for a main character only because it's not a main character design.
Yeah,
he definitely has like, I don't know, like not NPC is the wrong word, but just like he looks like a side character.
He looks like a supporting character. Yeah. And like again, that's why I love that it is this thing of he's a badass, but like he's out the game, and so like he's gained weight, but like he's still a badass, and we're gonna focus the story around him. Yeah. And like I'm sure, I mean, it gives me the vibe of something that's gonna be a bit more lighthearted, but still engaging from maybe the action and stuff like that. And so I think this is on my I want to check it out list.
And another big thing here is that Matthew Mercer is the voice of
The main character?
Sakamoto.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, which is I'm really excited.
Oh, then
to
he's probably
hear.
gonna sound like a badass. Then.
Yeah. Sungwon Cho is also in the show. Dallas Liu. A few other names that I'm not familiar with off the top of my head, but yeah. Being able to hear Matthew Mercer in another anime after what feels like a while, that has me excited.
What was like his previous thing, or like what was like one of his big
don't
things?
ask me that off the top of my head. Blessing,
because like it's funny
because I think he came up with like Troy Baker and like that kind of
I think
era
about him in video
of-
games.
of voice actors who primarily started in anime and then made their way over to video games. Let's see.
Don't forget he was Espio the Chameleon in Sonic Cross Shadow Generations.
Of course, yes, of course. How could I forget that? Let's go.
He's also in Batman Arkham Shadow and Dragon Age the Veilguard. He is definitely one of the ones.
He's been doing a lot. Well,
he's hit
in the video game space for sure. He's been.
Hold up, he is hit in Dragon Ball. Well, in Sparking Zero, but I imagine that
he's
the anime
Ganondorf as well. Remember that?
I do know he's Ganondorf.
He's
but
also
like,
Yusuke in Persona 5.
I knew those ones, but him being hit. I would not have guessed. That's really cool.
He was in Hunter x Hunter as Leorio.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's also he was in Dragon Ball Super, like you mentioned, I believe. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Demon Slayer. Yeah, he's been around the block.
Yeah,
He's
man,
been
shout
around.
out my guy Matthew Mercer.
Yeah. So that's Sakamoto Days. Next up, we have Solo Leveling Season 2, which I don't have a date for.
Solo Leveling is one I've heard a lot about recently,
Yes.
too. When was Season 1? Do you remember off the top of your head, or should I look this
I'm
up?
looking into it. That was January 7th, 2024. So that was right at the beginning of last year. And I believe we had Alex Lee, voice actor, the main character in Solo Leveling. He was in the office right when the movie was coming to theaters. And I believe the movie was like partially a recap of season 1 and then a little bit of like teasing what season 2 was going to start off with. If you don't know, Solo Leveling is the plot is in a world where hunters, human warriors who possess supernatural abilities, must battle deadly monsters to protect mankind from certain annihilation. A notoriously weak hunter named Sung Jin-woo finds himself in a seemingly endless struggle for survival. Shout out to the homie Matthew David Rudd, who's going to be in season 2. I believe his character might have been hinted at in season 1, but I think his character is about to make a big splash in season 2. I forget his character name, but he's going to be a fun old baddie, as Matthew David Rudd usually is. So yeah, we've got Solo Leveling season 2. I've not watched the first season of Solo Leveling yet, but I do. That's one that I do want to get into because that was another one that really took over the world in like the first quarter of 2024.
Yeah, I'm like watching trailers for it now, and I like the violence. I like that it seems like one of those ones where it's like if you like action, if you like you know fucking some violent shit, if you like badass humans fighting monsters and shit, this is gonna be an anime. This is gonna be
something that hits for you. I know that there's a big moment I think in season 1 that a lot of people were really excited to see adapted into the anime, and that was something I talked about with Alex Lee when he was in studio. And I'm excited to see them continuing it on, and it gives me it's a good reminder of like fuck, I do need to watch this. So and then we get a little bit quiet because we're kind of in the second half of the winter season here, and now it's going to be possibly some things coming out in February, March, what have you, but then we get into the spring season, right? In April we've got Fire Force Season 3, and the main reason I'm bringing up Fire Force is this is one that for Alyssa, my wife, who's a grade school teacher, whenever she talks about anime with her students, one of the first things that's brought up by these kids is Fire Force.
Really?
Fire Force is hot with the kids. Just a quick synopsis. Shinra Kusakabe is a third-generation pyrokinetic youth who gained the nickname Devil's Footprints for his ability to ignite his feet at will, and was ostracized as a child for the fire that killed his mother and younger brother, Sho, 12 years ago. He joined Special Fire Force Company 8, which features other pyrokinetics who dedicated themselves to ending the infernal attacks for good while investigating Company 1 through 7 for potential corruptions in their ranks. So yeah, this is one that a lot of, at least from my perspective, a lot of younger audiences like, but still has a lot of fun, interesting action. And so that's getting into its the third season already, which is crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is one that I had not heard about before.
Yeah.
And so like it's always fun to see what are the things that are making waves currently, like what are the things that the kids are watching.
Yeah.
I think if you would ask me what are the kids watching right now as far as anime, I think my only answer would have been maybe My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, cool to see that there are other shows out here that are like
Naruto's still hot.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? It is because
Naruto over Boruto, surprisingly as well. To me,
my nephews, my oldest nephew, I like try to put on Dragon Ball on the TV, and he was like, "Uncle, do you watch like Naruto? Do you know Naruto?" And I was like, yeah, I know Naruto. I've not like watched Naruto. Like that was weirdly enough after my time / like in between. It was in this in between era.
I feel like we were the perfect age for that, but we just might have not been.
I had like barely missed it. Yeah. Like because I was I think I was the right age, but that was also when I was traveling. Like I lived in Nigeria from like
anime just wasn't in the same kind of part of your life.
Yeah, like I lived in Nigeria from 05 to 07. And I feel like that was prime Naruto years.
Oh yeah, 100%. Also in April, we've got Go-Go Loser Ranger season 2 coming to Hulu. This is one that I wanted to shout out just because I know Zeno Robinson, who is everywhere in the anime world, also voices Junpei in Persona 3 Reload. Is in the show, was hyping it up a lot this last year, and because season 2 is coming out, I wanted to shout it out, and here's the quick synopsis here. 13 years ago, the villainous army of evil attempted to invade Earth. Faced by the Super Sentai Squadron known as the Divine Dragon Rangers, also known as the Dragon Keepers, and their super weapons, the Divine Tools. The evil army, however, was defeated within a year, all of its executives wiped out, and the surviving and almost immortal foot soldiers have been forced ever since to reenact their defeat to the keepers in front of a crowd of spectators every Sunday. Tired of the charade and realizing that this amounts to little more than slavery, one of the foot soldiers rebels and decides he will defeat the Dragon Keepers by infiltrating the organization. So this just seems like a really fun play on Power Rangers. What if the Power Rangers were also kind of like, yeah, they saved the Earth, but they were also kind of weird dictators and like basically kept slaves from their enemies to like perform like like theater every week.
What's funny is that, before you even started reading the synopsis, I had the trailer going on my laptop, and immediately I was like, oh, this reminds me of Power Rangers. Yeah. And like, as it goes, I think it might even be more so like the visual style, it might be more akin to even Kamen Rider as well, which I would say probably is in the same vein. More familiar with Power Rangers, obviously, because I grew up with Power Rangers, but that's fucking awesome. Yeah. This looks really cool.
It's a fun premise. Zeno was hyping it up a lot over the last year, and so again, this is another one with another season coming out. It's a good reminder of like I do want to check that one out. So,
and even though we're making Power Rangers comparisons, right? As I'm watching the trailer as well, very, very violent. There's violent shit going on here, so it's not kid shit.
Oh yeah, exactly. Also in April, this was a big announcement over the winter break at that one anime event that I will never remember the name of. We have My Hero Academia Vigilantes. The quick pitch for you here, Bless, because this is the beloved spinoff of My Hero Academia. I forget when Vigilantes started as a manga, but it was a pretty short run compared to the main My Hero Academia story here. And so just the quick pitch. In a superpowered society, there's nothing ordinary about evil anymore. Heroes, trained and licensed to protect and defend the public against supervillains, stand above all the rest. Not everyone can be a hero, however, and there are those who would use their powers to serve the people without legal sanction. But do they fight for justice in the shadows or for reasons known only to themselves? Whatever they fight for, they are called vigilantes. Koichi Himawari couldn't make the cut to become an official hero, so he uses his modest quirk to do good deeds in his spare time. Then one day, a fateful encounter with some local thugs leads him to team up with 2 other unlikely heroes. None of them really know what they're doing, but they've got the courage or foolishness to try. But they soon discover fighting evil takes more than just being brave.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
Kick-Ass. It sounds like Kick-Ass to me.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and so it's it follows this kid Koichi who's a college student, I believe, and this all takes place before the events of the main My Hero Academia story with Deku and all that stuff. I believe it's like 2 or 3 years before that, and he has this quirk where as long as he has like 2 feet and 1 hand on the ground, he can kind of just glide on the ground at like 15 miles an hour or whatever. So it's like
it's a useless superpower.
Yeah, it's like a kind of useless quirk. And the way but he still has this like love and passion for just helping his community. And this one really stood out because it's not the big saving the world type of thing. It is a very small feeling story about this kid helping out his community, running into essentially the daredevil of that community and having him kind of be his mentor and not having like a huge hero like All Might, but having another dude who is being a hero illegally, figuring all this stuff out. And the relationships are so well done in the story. It's one that I think, because it's able to be an offshoot and because it's a little bit of the main character being a bit older, there's a bit more mature themes, I would say, in terms of like what this story is going to tackle over the next few years. Because I imagine, this will be season 1. We'll wrap up My Hero season 8, and then Vigilantes will be the show for like the next few years. But this Vigilantes is special, and I would say there are some arcs in this. There's one particular arc that I think might be the best arc between both My Hero and Vigilantes. And so I'm really excited for people to get to see this side of the universe, a much more smaller, a much more personal kind of view of this universe, with a lot of really fun, stupid, quirky characters. There's going to be eventually, this is a very, very, very light spoiler, just a premise of a character. There's essentially a character from another country who gets canceled. And so to reshape his image, he comes to Japan to like rebuild his like hero image in Japan. And just like a lot of the stuff surrounding that, I find very interesting and not something you could really do in My Hero proper, right? And so, yeah, this is going to be a super special one. Definitely keep your eye out on it. The way they announced it was weird. They're like, it'll debut in April, which I know is like their hero term for like, oh, they're going to debut as a hero. But the way they said it still made me think of like, all right, is it only going to be like 1 episode and then like the season later on or something like that? So, but that's going to be a huge highlight in April, and that'll definitely be one that whenever that fully wraps up, Mike and I will definitely sit down and talk about that.
That's super exciting.
Yes. More My Hero is something that Mike wants because he feels the main story ending. So he's like, I just want to live in this world forever. It's like, well, it won't be forever, but you're going to get a couple more years of My Hero universe stuff. And because it's a prequel, right? You know, a lot of your main characters from My Hero aren't going to show up, but some fun side characters that I think you're going to get some like really interesting kind of background on that fleshes them out even way more, that I think was really fun. This was a manga that I read I binged through it like over a winter break, I think like 1.5 years ago or something like that, and really fell in love with it. Before we get to the rest of the year of anime in 2025, let us tell you a word from our sponsors.
This episode's brought to you by Built. If you're a renter, I'd start taking advantage of Built if I were you. Here's the thing. We earn points on groceries, travel, and practically everything else we buy. But we should also be earning points on rent, one of our biggest monthly expenses. Built changed the game by letting renters earn high-value points on rent and around their neighborhood. There's no cost to join Built, and as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and your everyday spending. Built points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, and even the ones you haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties around the world you can redeem your Built points toward. Points can also be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Built members can access. So, if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, why not? Start earning points on rent you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/kindafunny. That's joinbilt.com/kindafunny. Make sure to use our URL so they know that we sent you there. Join built.com/kindafunny to start earning points on your rent payments today. This episode's brought to you by BetterHelp. What do you want your 2025 story to be? Every January brings you 365 blank pages waiting to be filled in. In 2025, maybe you're ready for a plot twist, or maybe there's part of your story you've been wanting to revise. Life isn't about resolutions that fade by February. It's about picking up the pen and becoming the author of your own life. Think of therapy as your editorial partner, helping you write new chapters and create the meaningful story you deserve to live. Some of my best friends use BetterHelp, and they love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. And it serves over 5 million people worldwide. Write your story with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/kindafunny to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/kindafunny. BetterHelp.com/kindafunny.
Alrighty, bless. We're still in April. The one thing I still have left to shout out in April is Zatsutabi, That's Journey, which is one of those names where you just kind of, you hear and your eyes just start to glaze over. But I thought the description was very interesting. Chika Susagamori, a rookie manga artist, has been rejected every time she submits a new draft. On the verge of giving up, she suddenly gets the idea of going on a journey that heals precisely because it is rough. I wanted to look for something that wasn't just typical shonen.
Yeah.
And so this seems like one of like, something about being an artist, something about being a creative and struggling with that. I think that'll be something very fun and cute. It reminds me of Look Back, which was a movie adaptation of a short story that the writer of Chainsaw Man actually did, and that's about like a fourth grader like manga artist and her struggles and like all of that stuff. And so I just wanted to shout that one out. If you're looking for something just outside of the shonen kind of tropey action stuff, maybe that's something for you in April.
It looks cool. I like it.
Yeah. Then we get into July. We're getting to the heat of the summer season. First thing to kick us off, we just know just the month of July, we've got DanDaDan season 2.
Really? Already,
buddy.
Oh, that is way quicker than I thought.
Which is, truly insane. I think it was the first season was 12 episodes roughly, and it was like right when that last episode came out for the first season, they're like, we're coming back in like 6 months. It's like, what? That's a hell of a turnaround. And granted, like, the first season was a shorter one, and that does make me wonder if DanDaDan seasons are just gonna be shorter. Like typically for anime, the first season for the most part, or maybe not all the times, but for the most part is only going to be like half a season's worth of episodes, just to like give it the trial run, really see like if it's going to do well. And then every season after that is going to be like a full 24, 25 episode kind of run. But the fact that they're turning this around so quickly, I do wonder if they're going to stick to like shorter seasons for something like this.
Yeah,
which
I kind of hope so, because I think 12 episodes worked really well for DanDaDan, and I think if you're able to turn it around at a quick enough pace, you can end with those cliffhangers and still have it be a thing of, oh, don't worry though, you're not going to wait 3 years for this. Like, we're going to have another season for you in half a year, 1 year, whatever it is.
Yeah, especially with Science Saru, I believe, is the production company on that. Like, the amount of just artistry in the first season and just like, oh shit, y'all are coming back like in 6 months with like the amount that y'all just animate fight scenes and all this stuff. Like, that's crazy. So and just the quick premise for season 2, Okarun and Gigi have made a strange discovery while Momo finds herself under attack. What mysterious encounters await them next? I'm very excited for season 2.
I'm super excited for that. Yeah, and I also love it because, like, I mean, to the short span of the season, right? Like, those episodes are very well paced, and the season overall is so well paced. You kind of don't know what you're getting into when you start up the next episode of DanDaDan. Yeah, and I think that keeps it exciting. And also, it's one of those things where, again, like, I finished season 1, and I wanted more. Like, I was like, oh man, like, is that it? Like, oh, like I kind of want more. And that is the feeling you want, in my opinion, right? Like, if
you want to be hungry for more.
If you can leave your audience hungry for more and then deliver that for them, not too long after that, like, let's go.
Yeah. So that's exciting that we're getting back to that world so quickly. I am manga current on that, and I'm so excited for the next few arcs of DanDaDan, whether it's all in season 2 or if they have like shorter seasons. But DanDaDan is gonna it's gonna have the heat for like pretty much up until where it's at in the manga. It's crazy like how much it just like is always on that like level 10 of just like, holy shit, we're just doing shit right now. Also in July, we've got Kaiju number 8, season 2. Kaiju number 8 definitely took over the office a little bit, even with Roger. Just a quick synopsis here for you here. After their town is destroyed by Kaiju, childhood friends Kafka and Mina both vowed to become members of the Japanese Anti-Kaiju Defense Force to fight Kaiju together. Mina has since become the captain of the Defense Force 3rd Division and is valued due to an ability that makes her shots highly destructive. Kafka has failed the examination numerous times and works in a cleanup crew that disposes of Kaiju remains after battle. Kafka meets a young part-time worker in his company, Reno, an aspiring Defense Force member who reignites his desire to enlist once again. However, a parasitic creature enters Kafka's body through his mouth, and he gains the ability to turn into a humanoid kaiju. After escaping from the Defense Force, Kafka is given the codename Kaiju number 8 and decides to apply while keeping his kaiju form a secret. This is such a fun one. I believe this is Production IG that's working on this, also in tandem with a couple of other studios. This is such a fun kind of shonen thing, mainly because of Kafka, who is like this older dude. He's in his early 30s. He's like at the age where they cut off people, like allowing people to enter this like Kaiju Defense Force. And so he's like kind of out of shape, like just struggling to keep up with these other kids who are like trying to be a part of this really cool defense force. And then seeing him go through the motions of like, oh shit, I can also turn into a kaiju, and oh shit, I'm also kind of wanted now because, you know, all kaiju need to be exterminated and stuff. It's a really fun premise. It is such a charming a story with all of these characters and the relationships, and Kafka and Reno. Reno also knows that Kafka can turn into this kaiju, and that dynamic of it's almost like a superhero, like kind of like having like the secret identity type of thing aspect in this whole like kaiju anime, which I think is really fun. I'm super excited for the for season 2, and let me tell you, Bless, if it wasn't for DanDaDan, the ending song of Kaiju number 8's first season would have been the bop of the year. It would have been the bop of the year.
I've had the trailer on repeat, as you've been talking about. I've heard like people talk about it around the office, and as I'm watching the trailer, like this is another one that I'm going to add to the I got to watch this list.
Yeah.
Like this looks really
and
cool.
then first season, also another one that's just 12 episodes, so that's a kind of easy breezy one for you to get through in a weekend. Also in July, we've got Sakamoto Days Part 2, and that's why I'm waiting to get that Netflix subscription at the end of the year, because it'll be one season in 2 parts, I think 11 episodes each, and so that's where I'm like, you're not going to get me Netflix. You're not going to get me to pay month to month to be hooked onto this show. I'm going to wait until the end of the year. So yeah, even though Sakamoto Days will have a short run, it'll be back later this year, which is very exciting. Then we have possibly leaked in September, Demon Slayer Infinity Castle first movie.
Oh.
And so, yes, this was announced last year. Demon Slayer will be ending its adaptation with a trilogy of movies, which I have mixed feelings about when anime decide to, we're going to end the anime here and we're going to finish it with movies. I do think it makes sense for Demon Slayer. I think Demon Slayer as a show already is just so movie-like and so cinematic, and I think just what they have left to adapt in the manga, I think is going to fit perfectly with 3 final movies, and I'm really excited because, let me tell you, Bless, they got into this Infinity Castle at the very end of the last season, and the way it works is that there's this demon lady who has this, I forget what the kind of guitar it is, but she plucks it, and the things in the Infinity Castle change, and she can move people in places. So that's going to cause a whole lot of chaos for this final war arc that's happening for Demon Slayer. Yeah, it's it was really fun because they thought they had the main demon cornered, and then she
starts playing a tune.
she plucks the string, and then a door opens underneath all of the demon slayers, like throughout the country, and they all get sucked into this infinity castle. It's like, oh shit, things are going down.
I like
that. My boy, I forget his name, but he's got the boar head. Everybody else was scared. Inosuke, I think his name is. Yeah.
Right.
Like everybody else was scared getting sucked into this castle, and he was like in the middle of like eating fish, and he gets sucked in. He's like, just another day, and just like puts on his forehead, is ready to fuck shit up. I'm so excited for that. And also my boy Zenitsu, also voiced by Zena Robinson, because he's everywhere. He had some shit emotionally go down that we don't know, at least in the anime, like what happened. He got a letter, and he was like, something fucked up happened to him. And so usually he's this like big crying baby, but when he gets sucked into the Infinity Castle, he's also looking ready to fuck shit up, and it's like, I'm excited. That's
awesome.
I'm excited.
I miss Demon Slayer. I watched the first season. I watched the movie.
Yeah.
I fell off of it because the story wasn't like pulling me in as much as I wanted it to, even though I loved watching it for just how flashy and how like really well presenting it is. Like it is a beautifully made anime as far as like its visuals.
The end of season 2 especially, there's some fights that are just absolutely like, I remember showing Andy a couple of the fights. He's like, this is an episode of an anime. This is a movie. I'm like, no, it's another episode.
Yeah. So I kind of want to get back to it, just like because I missed that world, and I like those characters too. Like you bring up Inosuke, I'm like, man, I did like Inosuke.
Yeah, they're also fun and goofy, and I love them. I'm sad that it's wrapping up soon, but you know, with it being 3 movies, it's probably going to be like a movie a year at this point. So we'll still have a couple of years of it. And I was going to say something else about Demon Slayer. I forget. I love it. So that is possibly leaks coming out in September. There's like I think maybe an image or some website posting that said a September date, but nothing official yet. So keep your eyes peeled on that. And then the last official month that I have written down, because then the rest of the year I have some question marks. October, we're getting the return of Spy Family.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I forget where...
What was that, season 3?
Season 3,
okay.
Yes. I forget where season 2 left off. Obviously, the big plot here is, you know, there's this kind of Cold War happening between these two countries. The dad is a spy trying to prevent this war from happening. And his mission is to kind of get close to this one dude. And by doing that, he adopted a child who he does not know is a telepath. He married a wife who he does not know is an assassin. Chaos and comedy ensues. They also adopted a dog who can predict the future, which is just also adding just gas to the flame, which I love. But he's trying to get close to this dude through his daughter Anya, who... her goal is to make friends with this like military leader's son, so they can get hopefully like an invite to like a lunch or something at their house one day. I unfortunately possibly got spoiled on something recently, because you know when you open up Google on your phone and it gives you like those random articles, just you haven't even typed like a search in. The first thing was like this week's like manga issue.
Oh, that sucks.
And I was like, God fucking damn it. Okay. Yeah. But if that thing is true, that Spy Family is going to get even weirder, and I'm really excited for that, because the heart of that show is just how goofy and funny that is, and to see it all through Anya's eyes. Like, did you watch the movie Code White or something like that?
No, I've not seen the movie.
I think it's on Crunchyroll now. If you ever get a weekend where you just like want to be back in that world before the season 3 comes out, it is hilarious. There's a part where Anya eats something that the bad guys want, and they have captured her, and they're trying to make her poop, and then she's trying everything in her willpower to not poop, and it's one of the funniest sequences I saw in anything in the last year. It was so goddamn good, and I'm excited to get back to Spy Family in October. Now we have some question marks. We're Escape the Infinity Season 2. Mike and I need it. We need it so bad. We need our skateboarding boys who desperately want to kiss each other, but just can't say it, so they skate their feelings out. We need more of that show. Escape the Infinity, I think, would be kind of your jam, possibly, if you're into like kind of skateboarding, like extreme sports vibes, where there's this one dude who used to be a snowboarder, but now he lives in a town where there's no like snow or anything, so he learns to be a skateboarder. And like all just like the kind of, it has very like 90s, early 2000s like vibes of, yeah, we're a gang of skateboarders, don't fuck with us type of thing. And it's just really fun and silly, and Mike and I adore it so goddamn much.
I've definitely heard probably you and like quite a few people talk about it and like pitch it to me, and I'm like, it's one that again is on the I should watch this list. I want to get to this list.
Yep. Next up, question marks we have, I think also recently confirmed, is Lazarus, which is an upcoming original anime television series produced by MAPPA, because they do everything now. And it is created by Shinichiro Watanabe, who is the creator of Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. And so him coming out with a new original series is very exciting. The kind of plot synopsis here is: in the utopian year 2052, Dr. Skinner discovered a miracle drug. In 2055, Skinner announces that the drug has a 3-year half-life, and soon everyone who took it will die. Oh.
That's sick.
A task force of 5 agents is assembled to locate Skinner and create a vaccine. Its name is Lazarus. That's cool. I'm excited for that one.
That sounds really cool.
And with the creator behind Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, teaming up with MAPPA to do something, that shit's gonna be stylish and fun and groovy as hell. So yeah, look forward to that. I believe I couldn't see any confirmation, but I know people are waiting for One Punch Man 3.
It's been too long.
Yeah.
I miss One Punch Man.
It reminds me a lot, and this is funny because it's the same manga writer, but Mob Psycho, where Mob Psycho season 1 comes out in 2017 or something like that, and then season 2 doesn't come out until 2020, and then season 3 didn't come out until 2023, and so it's just like this long wait of like, where the fuck is this more Mob? And it feels like the same for One Punch Man, which is unfortunate.
Taking their time.
Yeah. I do remember people not loving season 2 as much.
Season 2 got weird. Like, I remember loving season 1, and then season 2, I feel like it just did a lot. Like, they started adding more characters, the plot got bigger in a way where it's like, oh, it feels like y'all are just trying to make shit happen to like have more of a plot, even though the reason why I loved season 1 is the fact that like, oh man, this is a guy that is bored because he kills everything in one punch. Like, he defeats everybody in one punch.
Yeah.
And so
it felt like small and stuff. And that's something I really appreciated about Mob, because Mob got close to that, where all right, we're starting to introduce a lot. But then it came back around. It's like, all right, we're going to thin out some of these bad guys, and then we're going to refocus on like what the story of Mob Psycho is really about, which I love. Did you ever finish Mob, by the way?
No, I got to season 2. Halfway through season 2, I think I just got distracted and never went back. It's another case of me getting halfway through.
I know. Oh, season 3 just.
I think wild, though, because I loved Mob Psycho of what I watched.
Yeah, I remember me and Chaim really getting you on that train, and just like him and I watching season 3 as you were getting into the show. It was like, oh god, this is such a good time. You got to finish Mob 100%.
I definitely do.
Then we have My Hero Academia season 8. We don't have a confirmed date or a month for this, but it'll probably come out sometime. I would guess in the fall season, since we have Vigilantes seemingly starting in the spring season. So be on the lookout for that. The final season, which is crazy. It's crazy how long My Hero has been around, and I can't wait to see a lot of the things that I started to like about the final arc, because I was having like a little bit of like a love-hate relationship with the final arc in the manga, but then seeing some of the stuff that I didn't love from the manga being adapted into the anime, I was like, oh, I'm liking this more, and it started to click of, oh, a lot of the story feels better paced in an anime rather than reading 12 pages every other week. And so I think that might have led to my frustration. So I'm excited to get to some huge moments that I really loved, and to really get to see like some of the performances from the cast that we have loved for so long. Anyways, if you want some My Hero goodness and did not watch the last episode of Kana Anime, I got to interview the English voice actors for Endeavor, Shoto, and Dabi, and that was a very fun conversation.
Which season did you say this was?
So the upcoming season is season 8.
God damn.
I know. It's been a long time.
Did not realize there's
and
been
that
that
I
many
believe
seasons.
I think it's coming up on 9 years, because I think the anime started in 2016. So yeah, it's truly crazy. But yeah, I got to interview the English voice actors for those characters, because there's a very big episode surrounding those 3 characters in the last season. And let me tell you, from here on out, it's the big fight. It's the big fight. Everything else has pretty much been wrapped up. We're getting to the real shit here. Another question mark we have is Chainsaw Man, the movie, Reze arc. Did you watch Chainsaw Man and all of this first season? Okay. Denji became Chainsaw Man, a boy with a devil's heart, and is now part of Special Divisions 4's Devil Hunters. After a date with Makima, the woman of his dreams, Denji takes shelter from the rain. There he meets Reze, a girl who works in a cafe. I really loved, Mike and I really loved Chainsaw Man season 1. it also does come across as like this ultra violent, typical shonen thing. But I think a lot of the deeper themes that are being teased in kind of the early parts of this story is a lot talking about how to have healthy sexual relationships with people that you're romantically interested in. And I think Denji as a character, I'm so fascinated in where they take his character. But then also he can pull on a string on his chest and turns into a chainsaw and fucks people up. And it's really fun and chaotic and really interesting. That was another one that Mappa did that really felt like a passion project, because every ending song was different. Mm-hmm. For the 12 episodes, it was a completely different song, completely different outro, like visually and all this stuff. A lot of that felt like very inspired. A lot of the show overall felt very inspired by like a lot of like modern like mobster movies in terms of like, I don't know, like cinematography and aesthetic and stuff that I felt like was very cool to see that meld into this hyper violent shonen story.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's one where Chainsaw Man, when that was coming out for the first season, felt like it was one of those ones that was everywhere, right? Yeah. Like everybody was watching.
Everybody was watching.
The pet from the show.
Yeah, Pochita.
Yeah, we have like a plush in our living room of Pochita. Yeah. And so like I see it every single day.
I can hear Michael Hayam go, "Oh, Pochita."
Yeah, like I see it every single day, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta get back to watching that, because I think I did watch the first episode. Yeah. And like I think again at the time I just wasn't in the mood for it. And I was like, I'll get to it someday.
And yeah, I'm really excited for this to come back, even if it's just a movie and not a season 2 quite yet. I'm excited to hear, of course, friend of the show, Ryan Colt Levy, come back and just like give it his all as Denji. I'm also interested, especially hearing that he's going to go on a date with Makima, who is his superior and an older woman. I'm interested to see this girl, Reze, who he meets. Maybe we see Denji start to put together of like finding someone that he can have like a healthy relationship with. So we'll see. But knowing that world and how blessing, they had a red wedding moment in season 1 of this show. Mm-hmm. And it like still like I'm still processing that. And so like I say like I'm excited for Denji to have a healthy relationship with a girl his age, and I say that out loud, and I know deep down I'm like, that's not where it's going to end. It's going to end very badly.
Everybody's going down.
Some last questions we have. Jujutsu Kaisen season 3 ? I only put this here just for people who are wanting it. Mappa is doing everything, so I wouldn't expect Jujutsu Kaisen season 3 this year. Maybe next year, but yeah, with them doing Lazarus, the Chainsaw Man movie, and I think maybe one other project this year. Yeah, they've already got enough on their plate.
I had a friend force me to watch the first 2 episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen like a week ago or so. Let me tell you, shit rocks.
Yeah, shit rocks. Yeah. We'll talk about that in just a second, because I want to hear about that from you. And then the last 2 ? I have Frieren season 2. I want it. I need it.
Oh yeah.
Where season 1 ended, I was like, oh, we're building out this universe and world in a very interesting way, which it surprisingly grabbed me, because we're not into high fantasy type of stuff. Mm-hmm. This is not a section of anime that I'm really into, but there's just something about the tone, the overall like vibes of Frieren, and just like the very melancholic themes that are kind of bubbling underneath the surface of Frieren that just like really pulled me in. That is subtly the saddest anime, I think.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Like it's I think honestly, I think the thing that works for us is, even though we're not necessarily like high fantasy people, it does remind me of like a D&D campaign or like a video game of like,
that's right. Like Frieren almost got me to get into Baldur's Gate. Frieren almost got me to go into Dragon's Dogma 2.
Like imagine finishing any of those fantasy RPGs where you have a party or whatever, and like, what's life like after? Like what, like life goes on. All right, what does that look like? Especially when you've had, all these things in the past, right? And you have maybe new people that you're bringing up and all that stuff, right? Like it is, to your point, I think the melancholic tone of it works so well, but then the way they go about reveals, I think is really good, because there's, because it is a post-adventure story, a lot of like the cool things are when they're flashing back to like, oh, and this is when this character did this battle, which informs why they're this way or why they're doing this thing.
And seeing Frieren kind of processing a lot of just like being able to appreciate things that she didn't appreciate in the original journey, right? And it's like, God damn, just tear my heart out. Why don't you? And then the last question I have is Bocchi the Rock. I need it. Bocchi the Rock, bless, if you don't know, is about a girl with crippling anxiety who so desperately wants to be in a band. Throughout all of middle school, she teaches herself to be like the best guitar player ever, but still doesn't come up with the courage to like ask people to start a band. So she's starting high school and is determined to actually join a band. And honestly, the biggest hurdle is just her crippling anxiety, her mental state of overthinking every interaction, every conversation that she has, the first time that she plays on stage, she has to be in a box because she doesn't want to be in front of people. It is very charming. It is very silly. The humor in it is just very fun. And I know that like it definitely feels like a passion project when like they're incorporating like live action bits into it to like show off Bocchi's like thought process and like how just like deep down the rabbit hole she'll go, and you know, like you'll see like a person's actual hand like pop a balloon to show like her brain just like not being able to like handle something. It's very cute, very fun, and the music's good too. The music is catchy, and I would like more of it. Very pretty, please. Oh, yeah. Anyways, that is possibly everything coming out in 2025 that is on.
That is an exciting list.
Yes,
and that's big.
Yeah, it's a big year. That's why I wanted to kind of take a moment, kind of make ourselves look throughout the year and be like, ooh, maybe we should do a kind of anime episode on this, or let's keep our eyes on this for whenever we come back and all that stuff. So yeah, that is 2025 in anime. To wrap up the episode, Blessing, we're going to do a very quick what you've been watching, and I'm going to start it off with Where is the One Piece, a segment that we do every episode where Mike and I give you updates on where we're at in One Piece.
Oh, you're also watching One Piece?
Yes, very, very slowly. Because I think since 3 months ago, I think I've watched 5 episodes of One Piece since the last episode of Kinda Anime. I'm finished with Alabasta. The last thing I remember, I'm on an island. We're on an island. Nico Robin is part of the crew now, and they ran into a bunch of weird goats that they wanted to eat at first, but it turns out the goats are friends, and they're friends with an old man who they think is going to die, and they're really sad about it. And that is where I'm at in One Piece. I cannot give you a specific episode number there, but that is, I'm still just stepping out of Alabasta there. So that is where I'm at. And then, honestly, I haven't been watching too much, so the only thing I'll shout out is Haikyu. Every kind of winter now, it feels like Alyssa and I, when we get cozy and it's like the holiday time, right? It's time to turn Haikyu back on. It's her favorite anime. It's very cozy. It's sorry, I'm reading a Slack. I'm finally catching up on Slack. It's just like a nice, wholesome show about kids who just want to do their fucking best.
Yeah.
And so when we finished our rewatch of Haikyu at the end of the winter break, I started reading it, and I read the entire rest of the manga. And Blessing, there's only one movie coming out left for Haikyu, and this is why I'm mixed on anime ending with movies. With how much they have left to adapt, I'm really worried about this final movie. There are 2 really big matches left. And like how much happens in both of those matches, I'm thinking to myself, I don't think they can do that in a 90-minute movie, man. These 2 matches should be an entire like 20-episode season. So I liked the first movie that came out because it was a big deal that Haikyu was ending not with a final season but with 2 final movies. And when the first movie came out, I hadn't read the manga yet, and I had a good time with it. And I thought it like did a lot to kind of condense this really big match that we've been waiting for since almost the first season of the show. But now we have 2 really big matches for one final movie, and I'm a little bit worried about that. So that is where I'm at with Haikyu. The ending of Haikyu, honestly, is beautiful, and I would recommend reading it, especially because we're probably going to have to wait a bit for that final movie. And I don't know if that final movie is going to be super satisfying and pull it off, but we'll see. Blessing.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts on DanDaDan, because we only got to talk about it like the first couple of episodes on the last episode of Kinda Anime. So you got to watch all 12 episodes, and I'm surprised that it was an anime season you actually finished.
Yeah, so like, well, I think that's a testament to how fucking good it is, right? Like, it was, not only did I watch all 12 episodes, I then doubled back and watched like watched half the season over again.
Oh, hell yeah. Wow.
Yeah, like I was all at like in the process of showing a friend, right? I was like, oh, you got to watch DanDaDan. We'll watch it together. But then also the episode, there's like a really good episode towards the middle. Yeah, episode 7. I watched and then immediately watched again.
Yeah.
Like I had those scenarios with it too. And it's funny, like I forget who compared it to Scott Pilgrim. It might have been you. Somebody compared it to Scott Pilgrim and pitching it to me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you know what? I think Isaiah.
Okay.
Isaiah from, I forget what he writes for now, but we were at a Dragon Ball Sparking Zero preview event. And he was like, oh yeah, there's this anime coming up. It was before it came out. He was like, it's called DanDaDan. It's gonna be the next big thing. It's gonna be huge. It's fantastic. I read the manga. It's incredible. Like it's gonna take over the world. And I was like, you know what, man? Isaiah, you have convinced me. I'm gonna watch this thing. And I think he was the one that might have.
Yeah, I don't remember pitching it as Scott Pilgrim. I pitched for it when I was talking about it to Mike before it had come out. It was like it has the energy of oh shit, Mob Psycho, or some of the vibes of Mob Psycho in terms of like
some of the supernatural
shit, but then the kind of weird coming of age energy of, oh shit, I'm blanking. There's like a really weird anime that I remember we watched for the first episode of kind of anime, or maybe the second episode of kind of anime. But yeah, it's like a blend of two things that when I say it out loud shouldn't work together. But DanDaDan works so fucking well.
Yeah, DanDaDan works so fucking well. I love it. I love the dialogue writing. I love the humor of it.
Fooly Cooley is the anime.
Oh, Fooly, yes, I do remember. I think I remember y'all talking about that. But I love the dialogue of it. I love like the language they like the characters use, because I think it is the language that they use that reminds me of Scott Pilgrim, where it is like some of the phrases, some of like the way the words come out of their mouth. I'm like, that feels so. Just like, who comes up with that? But it's so like, I don't know, it feels fresh, it feels funny, it feels sharp. Like, I love hearing these characters talk about each other, quip at each other, make fun of each other, right? Like, be mean to each other. Like, the way in which they interact is so wholesome, because at the end of the day, like, you can feel that this is a love story, right?
Yes.
Like, this has a love story element to it, where it is, man, y'all two are gonna be so good together.
I know, yeah.
And like, you're watching it happen, and you're like, the show knows what it's doing, and like, there is like this fun relationship between the viewer and the show of like, all right, you are bringing these characters together in this very poetic, in this very cosmic way, kind of literally cosmic way, right?
Right.
How are we gonna do this enemies to lovers thing? And they tease it out so well. Each episode, feels like you can see the roadblocks, you can see how it's all going. But then you just have random shit in there of the supernatural, and then like the space shit that comes and meets. And it's funny, there was like a super chat one day that like was talking about it being similar to Earthbound, and I was like, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Of like the mixture of like the supernatural and cosmic shit is very Earthbound.
Yeah.
And like how you take that and then mix it in with like the modern relevant, like it is, I don't know, it is a very fascinating show that I think, again, nails it in humor. I think the action's fucking awesome. And then there is,
dude, the music too. Like whenever whenever he turns into like the like edgelord turbo granny version of himself, and like that music kicks in, you're like, oh, we're about to get into a hype fucking action sequence.
I love when like he's talking as that character, because the attitude
of, yo, I'm super down,
I don't care about anything.
Shout out to AJ Beckles, who voices Okurun, and even the emo version of him, because the way he's able to really just change a little bit, like you can hear that he's the same person, but just like that tone of him being like the emo version of this super nerdy kid is fucking hilarious.
It's so good. And I love Granny. Again, everything in the show feels so well thought out as far as
everybody
like,
loves Granny.
Humor. But yeah, Granny, like not Turbo Granny, but Granny.
No,
like,
everybody loves Granny.
Her being a hot woman that doesn't look like a granny whatsoever is hilarious.
Which is going to be a joke throughout the entire story, by the way. Like anytime someone gets introduced to her as Ayase's grandmother, they're like, what?
Yeah, like him, Okurun not being able to like go to the bathroom because he's like doesn't want somebody to watch him, but like Ayase can't like take her eyes off him or else he's gonna turn into Turbo Granny. Like there's so much, again, good humor, but mixed with like really well paced moments of he's on the toilet, and all of a sudden shit gets real, and it's like, oh snap, like it's really good with that stuff.
They find a really impressive fine line to have the characters be like super goofy versions of themselves, and then on a dime really flip it to like having a really tense or like in-depth character moment with them that I find really impressive. Like Ira, who gets introduced like a few episodes in, like that episode 6, episode 7 turn where you learn about the was it like the silk dancer lady?
Yeah.
Like Ira thinking that she's like the savior of like the planet Earth, and Ayase and Okarun are like demons that she has to kill or whatever, and just like
meanwhile they're just trying to find his other testicle.
Yeah,
like.
exactly. But then like having the end of episode 7 with Ira and like giving her the her giving the hug to this like spirit that is just looking for some sort of like closure is just like, I did not expect this story to have that level of like, oh, I'm gonna cry. Like with how goofy and weird this shit is. They really like don't pull the punches on how emotional it can be as well.
Yeah, so absolutely love the show.
Yep.
Probably my favorite anime of the year last year, even though it's not like I watched a billion animes, but still, like
it was the anime of the year. We can all say
it was the one that at least got me to the end.
yeah. Look forward to season 2 later this year already, which is crazy. To close us out, Blessing, Jujutsu Kaisen, first 2 episodes. You're in?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
It's the thing of I'm in whenever I find the time.
Yeah,
watching the
that's
first
fair.
couple episodes, it was immediately apparent of, oh man, I've been talking about how much I love Yu Yu Hakusho this whole time. Jujutsu Kaisen has Yu Yu Hakusho energy in it. There's some things where I'm like, this is clearly inspired. Like, this is so inspired. This feels like you took Yu Yu Hakusho and Bleach and meshed them together in some ways. And so, watch the first couple episodes. Really dug it. Really dug the energy of the characters.
Yeah, I feel like
the
you
designs are badass.
really love Yuji Itadori, the main character, because he's just such a bro.
Such a bro. And again, like the way that it ends and kind of like the transformation that happens, I'm like, oh, that's fucking sick.
Yeah, him into Sukuna. Oh, that's so good. I love those characters. That's one that weirdly Alyssa really loves, especially with like how violent it does get. That's not something that's usually her jam, but she does really love the characters and how much they get to grow together and all that stuff. And that's Jujutsu Kaisen is definitely a special one, and I cannot wait for season 3.
Real quick, I do want to talk about the anime I've watched the most in the last year.
Oh shit!
Which is 68 episodes of Dragon Ball Super.
Ooh.
You know, I'm talking. You want to ask me why?
Really quick before we get to Dragon Ball, again, I would recommend. We talked about this off air. To watch the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie before you continue the anime, because I do think that's going to be. I think once you get into like halfway through season 1, you're going to have a lot of questions on like, wait, what? How does some of this stuff work? Who's the villain? What's happening? And I think Zero is a better onboarding point to like get you like really invested in the world and like rules and shit. So tell me about Dragon Ball Super, right?
Super, yeah. So when Dragon Ball Sparking Zero came out, I got the itch. And I was like, all right, it's time. Like, I'm loving these characters. And honestly, what it was playing through the story mode of Dragon Ball Super, and that being the first time I was exposed to the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and that being the first time I was exposed to some of the arcs of Super.
Okay.
And so like I had heard people talk about the Tournament of Power, and
is that the one
Goku
in
Black.
space?
Yeah, that's the one in space, and like Goku Black and all these people, right? And when I like, because I've played Dragon Ball Fighters, so I've seen these characters. I know who Hit is, but
Fighters was so good.
Yeah, but I didn't know who these characters were, right?
Yeah.
There's backstories and like what happened. So playing through Sparking Zero, I got to the Tournament of Power and I was like, yo, this shit is fucking insane. That shit is fucking crazy.
I'm gonna let you go off for a couple of minutes, but my favorite moment in all of this, in like the last 6 months of you watching all of this Dragon Ball Super, is you posting a moment where they corner Goku and they're like, shoot him or whatever. It's like, don't shoot him. He's not black.
Yeah.
It's
Oh my
like,
god, hilarious. Which, like, honestly, I'd seen the meme before, so I saw it coming, but I was like, man, that's hilarious. That localization let that one go through.
Oh man.
But yeah, like getting through the Tournament of Power arc in the game, I was like, okay, I gotta watch the actual show. I gotta see how this stuff unfolds. So I just finished the Goku Black arc.
Okay.
Theoretically, the Tournament of Power arc is the next big arc up next, but I still have a lot of filler episodes to get through.
Okay.
Right now, the episode I'm on is Goku versus Arale, who is from a completely different anime. This is like, I believe,
Like a crossover?
Yeah, but it's a crossover of Toriyama's properties.
Oh, okay.
Like, I believe she first crossed over back in the Dragon Ball days. Yeah, like she was like an OG Arale property. I forget what the name of her anime was. Dr. Slump? Maybe? Is Dr. Slump a different anime? It's something like that. You can look it up as I go. Yeah, Dr. Slump is a manga.
That's
series.
a manga.
Yeah, and I think it's in the same universe as Dragon Ball.
Hell yeah.
Potentially, but that was one of Toriyama's things.
Is she still this child? Is he fighting this small child?
We'll have to see in the next episode. It's funny because she's also, I first knew of this character because I believe she's also in Dragon Ball Tenkaichi 3, a game from like 2007. Yeah. So like playing that game, I'm like, who the fuck is this child? But God. I digress. Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin.
You're telling me Goku's fighting this child?
Goku's fighting this child.
That's crazy. What's the other Toriyama thing? It just got a video game. Sandland?
Yeah.
Is that pink character like pop up at all? Because he feels like he would like perfectly fit in Dragon Ball.
I don't think so, right? Because it was newer. I think that would have been post Dragon Ball Super, I imagine. But hey, who knows? Daimon.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Been around for a long time, I think.
Oh, has it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, maybe so.
The video game is new for sure.
I guess I'm thinking of the anime of Sandland because the anime just debuted.
Yeah, well, it was like redone or something like that. Oh yeah, no, it was just like finally adapted. Yeah, Sandland came out in 2000 as a manga.
Really?
And then finally got adapted a bunch as a movie. It got an anime film in 2023. It got the game, and then it finally got adapted into an anime.
Kevin, can you bring up that image back up of Goku and Arale?
He's gonna win that fight.
He's gonna whoop her ass.
That's crazy.
They must turn him into a child for one episode.
No, dude, she's one-shotting. She's one-shotting him.
I mean, apparently, maybe they fought before. I don't know, but like in the original Dragon Ball, so who knows? She might have some superpowers.
Who knows?
In fact, she definitely has some superpowers. I'll tell you right now. But all that said, being at the end of post the Goku Black arc, let me tell you, been absolutely enjoying this. This is my first time actually sitting down and watching Dragon Ball in a serialized way. I used to watch it just when it was on TV as a kid. So it wasn't like I was keeping up episode to episode. I would just turn it on, and I'm like, oh, that's Frieza. Oh, they're fighting. Oh, he's Super Saiyan. But like I never really watched from beginning to end.
You're not really getting like any of the context or like really taking in any of like what
that is crazy. He's about to blow her head off, bro.
What's the blue hair again? That's
Super Saiyan God.
Super Saiyan God.
Blue,
he's going
actually.
Super Saiyan God on this fucking child.
Yeah, he's Super Saiyan Blue. He's about to charge up a Kamehameha, and Arale is just in the background about to.
She's almost like a T pose. Like, what is happening right now?
Yeah,
like, why am I in this world?
Why am I here?
Jesus Christ! But you've been enjoying diving back deep into this world.
And the thing that I've been loving is how much of a TV show it is. Like, it is the most like, all right, after this commercial, we'll see. Tune into next episode
next
to see
time
Goku.
on Dragon Ball.
And they spoil it at the end of every episode what's going to happen. They're like, tune in for the next episode, Goku goes Super Saiyan God. And I'm like, motherfucker, that would have been such a cool. Tune in for next episode, Goku defeats Goku Black. And I'm like, bro, like, why are you
for next episode when Goku kills Arale?
Yeah, exactly. Like, legitimately, I'm like, man, y'all have no shame. And also the pacing is so TV, but also what I'm realizing is that that is actually getting me through the show easier than all the other anime. Cause like all these other shows,
so you're telling me if like we add a fuck ton of filler to like Mob Psycho, then you'll get back to it.
I think what it is I can watch the show and half pay attention. I can watch the show and half pay attention, but get all the plot.
Like the pacing where they're just like frames of people just standing there powering up and stuff.
Yes.
Like that's just
one thing.
Then
happens
you can just have
episode.
Magic the Gathering on your phone or whatever, however the fuck you play it on your iPad or whatever.
Every episode has one plot point, and that's it. And then the next episode, here's a plot point.
You would love One Piece.
Yeah, like it is really like, you do not have to pay attention for most of this thing. And so I can play Pokemon TCG Pocket while watching it, or play Magic Arena and still watch it and understand everything that's going on, not miss a beat. But yeah, been enjoying it. It's been fun. I will say I wish they did my boy Gohan better. I growing up, I was a teen Gohan guy.
Right.
Like, I fucking love that character, and he's a pacifist. For some reason, I'm like, why would you make this badass character a pacifist in his adulthood?
It's fucked up.
I know, and when I say adulthood, I know even as a teenager he didn't want to fight Cell. I get it, but they just benched him.
That's
rough. I'm like, why?
Put him in a situation where he has to fight.
And this would have been the Goku Black arc. Would have been perfect. It should have been Trunks and Gohan versus Goku Black, and the other people. He's fine. Like. That would have been so sick, but hey, I'm still having a fun time. Can't wait to get to the next big arc.
Hell yeah.
I just gotta trudge through a bunch of filler to get there.
Well, you won't have much filler between this episode and the next episode of Kinda Anime because we post 3 times out of the year. Anyways, that has been your episode of Kinda Anime for January 2025. Thank you, Blessing, for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
It's nice to get you off the bench and get you to talk about anime, because I know you're like Mike and I. We probably don't have enough to talk about it on a week to week basis, but you give us 4 months, we're gonna be pent up, and we're gonna want to talk about a lot of anime.
That's definitely the pace I work at when it comes to anime. I'll watch one every 4 months, and I'll have something for you.
Thank y'all so much for watching probably the shortest episode of Kinda Anime ever, which is crazy to say. We will see you sometime later in the year, I imagine. At one point, Mike and I will get together to talk about My Hero Vigilantes. If Blessing has anything that he is super passionate about that he wants to talk about in the anime world, well, of course we will have him back. And again, be on the lookout at some point, maybe at the end of this year, of Mike and I doing a live watch along for the final season of My Hero Academia. And of course, if you're listening to this on like the In Review podcast feed, you have screencasts popping up all over the place. You have Alien in Review, I think, that just kicked off, all that good stuff. So there's a lot happening in the movie, TV, and anime world. April is about to pop off, not just with anime, but like, oh my God, Daredevil's coming out.
Yeah,
and then we have Andor, and there's a third one. There's a third one in April. The Last of Us, I think, is also in April. That's crazy.
Severance going down right now.
And then you have Go-Go Loser Ranger and Fire Force and My Hero Academia Vigilantes. April's going to be insane. Anyways, thank y'all so much for watching. And until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.